God's good? And all the time? Okay. Joel Craig, Richmond area, Mays Walk, 38, Table Mark. I bring this little cross up here today with me when I speak, because it helps me remind myself why I'm up here, why I do any of this, it's a really cool thing. It's a good reminder. Scott says I only got 10 minutes. I need at least 5 more. Who will give me 5 more minutes? Nobody wants to give me 5 more minutes. That's horrible. Okay.
Tell them what you're going to do.
Huh?
He was going to count how many hands.
If everybody raised their hand, then I'd go 5, 10, 15. But you know that already. It was a trick. That was a trick. So, what happened to me on this walk I went on was an experience I'll never ever forget. I can tell you, I'll tell you, I don't have time, I only got 10 minutes, but I'll tell you one thing that happened to me. I was at the chapel or at the sanctuary, and we were all praying, and we were going through one of our little deals, and I thought, God, I need to make this worthwhile, I want this thing to be authentic, I know you're all around me right now. I know that you're here right now, and I ask you just to reach out and touch me, make my life changed. Just change my life. So I'm sitting there praying, and then I thought, well, by faith, I'm getting ready to go upstairs, and by the time I get to that top step, I pray that I've been touched and my whole life will be changed. So I'm walking up the steps, and I get to the top step, and nothing happened. So later on that night, I get ready to go to bed, and I'm in bed, and I'm praying again. You get a lot of time to pray while you're there. And I thought, God, and I'm praying to him, and then it hit me. It was like, maybe the touch I'm expecting it and the touch that God's going to give me. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's not what I'm expecting. Maybe as I was walking up those stairs, my wife died. Maybe that's the touch he wants to give me. Maybe that's the firecracker I need under my butt to get me to go out and do God's work. Maybe thousands of people will come to the Lord because I got off my butt, to go do something. So I'm going through the whole day thinking, my wife's dead. She's dead. So the next night, I was getting ready to go to bed, and it was late. And I thought, man. So I snuck out of the room, and I went down into the sanctuary again, and it was dark. And I walked down to the front, almost all the way to the front. And I snuck in between 2 pews, and I fell flat on my face on the ground in between 2 pews, hiding, talking to God. And I don't know, I might have been there an hour or 2. I don't know. They don't tell you. It's either this much or this much time you're there. And I'm praying to God, and I'm going, God, I know that I'm supposed to love you more than anything. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have my wife. I wouldn't have myself. So if it's your will to take my wife, home, go ahead. I'm telling God that it's okay with me. Go ahead and take my wife. My hardest, I don't know, man. I can't think of any harder thing I've ever done was tell God it was okay to take my wife. So a little bit later, a spiritual leader named Kurt, he pastors a church in Brookville, Indiana. He finds me somehow. It's pitch black dark. I'm on the floor in between 2 pews, and he comes up to me and he's like, you want to talk? And I'm like, nope. Nope. He's like, are you sure? What's going on? And I was like, I can tell you, but you're not going to understand. He's like, try me. And I'm like, my wife's dead. God took her. And he said, well, God don't work like that. And I'm like, thank God. And we talked for a long time. Feel sorry for him because he probably didn't get much sleep either that night. But all the questions I had when I went there were answered. All the questions that I got when I was there are totally answered now. Just God spoke to me so much while I was there. And it was a truly amazing experience.
I remember that teacher.
So, anyhow, I learned while I was there that God is so in control. Without God, I wouldn't have anything, nothing. And it just, since I've gone, this is a must-do for everybody. I mean, I'm going to ask people, you know, if you've been, you need to go. If you haven't, you need to go. You know, say I'm walking around here after church today and somebody comes up, and I come up to somebody and they say, Joel, you know, I'm really not ready to go. You know, I got this going on, I got that going on, my family's sick, I have to stay around and have to take care of my family. You know, that just reminds me of a story about Jesus. When Jesus was walking down through Spartansburg here, and he came across the guy and he says, follow me. And the guy goes, all right, Jesus, all right, I'll follow you. Well, hold on, I gotta run home and tell my dad he's dying, I gotta tell him bye. Jesus said, no, pick up your cross and follow me. That story right there tells me Jesus wants our sacrifice. My weekend was a sacrifice. No cell phone, not knowing if my wife was dead or alive. I could have went across the street and called her. I had $50 in my pocket just in case I needed a cab. I could have done that. But I wanted my experience to be authentic. It was like that clip Brad showed, Facing the Giants. You guys remember that? When the dude had that guy on his shoulders and he was going across the football field and he was blindfolded. And the coach kept saying, come on, your very, very best. You can do it, you can do it. It was just like that whole weekend. That's what God was doing to me. He was like, come on, you can do it, you can do it. Your very, very best. We can act that out, but Tricia doesn't want to have Kurt on her back, so. What I'm saying is we've got all kinds of excuses, man. I mean, they're really good excuses. They're super, super excuses. But you know what? We make time to go on business trips. We make time to go to Hawaii. We make time to ride our motorcycles for a whole week at a time. But I've came to realize something, that if it wasn't for God, we wouldn't have motorcycles, we wouldn't have Hawaii, we wouldn't have businesses, we wouldn't have sick people, we wouldn't have people at all. We wouldn't even have Adam and Eve. Came to another conclusion. God's not moved or impressed by our excuses. He's not. Of course, if anybody knows me, I'm the king of excuses. My very favorite excuses were I'm drunk or I'm hungover. But today I'm a new creation in Christ. Day glorious.